Hey everybody, today's Friday and I have decided that I need to get after some things that I've been kind of put to the wayside. I have three categories of quilting projects. WIP, which is work in progress. Those include all the bombs that I'm part of. Any project that I'm actively working, I might be setting it down here and there, but I pick it back up and I keep going on it. And then I have a queue, all those things that kits I've bought, projects I've bought, but I have yet to start it. And then I have my UFOs. Things, all good intentions, got to a certain part in the project and I set it down and I haven't picked it back up in a while. And the last time I tried to maybe push some of those UFOs through, I had made a rule for myself that I couldn't buy any more fabric until I finished 3 quilts. Those were the fastest quilts I'd ever finished because I went and found things that were in my UFOs that were really close to being finished. So what I did today to help me get ahead of my UFO, because I have a list of about 17 items. I'm sure I'll find more things as I continue to do things and work around the studio. So I'm going to walk through these, but I have a list of 16 things. One's got a star on it because the stuff I need to finish, it's at my mom's house in New Mexico. So I need to work with her before I can even add it to the list. So got my list of 17. I've got 17 numbers put in this cute little bowl. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a finish it Friday. So every Friday, I'm going to draw a number out. Say it's, in this case, number 9. I'm going to go look at my number 9 and I'm going to pick up that project. And I'm going to commit no less than 1 hour to working on that project. When I'm done, I'm putting the number back in the bowl because something about my personality is I get bored easily. So I used to try to start and finish a project through finish, but then it would lag and I would get uninspired because I need something to keep my creative juices going. So I started introducing bombs and I really, really enjoy going from project to project. Totally against everything I have learned in my education, how we do things at work, but this is my creative space and I don't have to abide by those rules because it's not a business. So I like to come in here to de-stress and I want to do what I want to do, but I also want to get these things done. So I will continue to add that number back into the bowl until that item is completely finished. So I had picked up 2025 Mystery Quilt. If I had not finished that after spending an hour, if I want to go longer, I can. I'm going to give myself that freedom. But if I didn't finish it, it goes back in the bowl. It may or may not get picked up the next Friday. That's how I'm going to do this. So let's walk through what the different projects are. So first up is the Flamingo Collage Quilt. So this is a Laura Heine quilt. I love flamingos, so this is the one I selected to do. I took a class for it. This is how far I got in the class. I could have easily come home and finished this real quickly. All it needed to do was be completely pressed and to go on the long arm. And you can see I've had it folded up, so things are lifting that shouldn't be lifting. And I probably even lost a piece of fabric here, no big deal. But there were, actually, I think I took the fabric off because I didn't like it. It didn't fit. So as I was looking at it, I didn't like the pink behind the pink, so I wanted it all to be some type of cream, so I knew I was going to change that. There was something about so this was a kit that I bought from the instructor, and there was something about the florals. She thought that it had plenty of layers. There's something about it. It wasn't tickling my fancy. When I look at this photo here, they're very similar still, but I just want something more for me to really like it. I think this blends too much. And then I also, similar to the pattern, I'd like to add some florals to the outside here and maybe a butterfly. So once that I'm happy with what that looks like, I will give it a final press. Then I'll put it on my long arm. I'll probably just do some straight edge quilting and I will bind it and it will be a wall hanging for my studio. So that is the Flamingo Collage. Next up is the Wisconsin quilt. So my husband's from Wisconsin and they had a shop hop when we were up there one year. And full disclosure, this was one of the shop samples. And when we were up there, I can't remember the date, but the shop hop wasn't starting in for a week later and they would not sell the fabric. And I thought it would be so cool to have some Wisconsin stuff for my husband, but couldn't buy it. Came back a couple months later. It was all sold out. It was a very big success that year. But one of the stores had their sample quilt top for sale for a pretty good price. So I bought that and it's just been sitting here. So that is a project that I need to get on the long arm and get quilted. And when I was there, they also had this rainbow quilt. It's Ace Hardware, has a quilting section in Wisconsin. And it's kind of touch and go. You might go in there and there might be a lot. You might go in there and there's not much. So I try to go in there every time we're there, but they had this really cute quilt top for a very inexpensive price. Don't usually use black as a background, but I really liked it. I liked this rainbow aspect of it. So I just need to get that on the quilt top or the long arm so I can quilt that. Next up is, I call this the black and purple quilt. This was a quilt that I made for a friend many years ago. Didn't have a studio, didn't have a long arm, had one machine, and I was free motion quilting this. And since I made the back black, I thought it'd be really cool to have some variegated thread, something that went purple to light purple. And what I did not realize, because I was still very inexperienced in understanding threads, is the thread that I got was very thick. So what was happening is it was getting very difficult to use my machine, and my needles, the thread kept breaking, the needle kept breaking because the thread was just too thick for the needle. By the time I realized it, I actually had to take my machine in for servicing. So I have been spending periods of time over the years picking this out because I absolutely love the colors and the quilt top, and I'm not willing to just part with it. So once I get it finally picked out, and it's not easy because there's some parts of this where the stitches were just extremely small and very hard to get to. So that's my purple and black quilt. It's been years in the making. I would love to get this completed. And then another one was a quilt for my grandson, who is, 5 now, and I was making this when he was a baby. So it is just half square triangles, but it's the Stacy Itchu, construction road set, transportation set. And at this time I did have my long arm, and I bought a panel for the back because I thought it would be really cool if he could have a quilt where he could use, he wasn't a baby, so it hasn't been 5 years, but where he could take his Matchbox cars and kind of play on this town. So I thought I'd be really slick and do some custom quilting. It started looking pretty good from the front, but then when I saw it on the other side, it just looked absolutely horrible. This might have been my second or third quilt on a long arm. It was my very first time using rulers, and it's just, I'm not happy with it. So I have been slowly picking this out. So I think an hour on a Friday that it gets selected might get me a little bit closer to that. And once that's done, I'll just throw that on the long arm. Not sure if he's interested in that anymore, but we'll see. Okay, next is a Christmas tree quilt that I actually just started last year. I got this from the Fat Quarter shop. It was the tree skirt that was so cute. I think it came in their Jolly box, but they also sold this. And I just thought it was so cute. And it also came with these really cute stockings. So I did some very dense quilting for the stocking piece of it. And then on the tree skirt piece of it, I was going to do some larger quilting. Well, I wasn't paying attention, and the height of the quilting design was too large for the throat of my long arm, and I quickly ran into problems. So what I need to decide on this is if it's worth it to actually spend the time picking this out, or should I just buy another panel and just start over? I struggle with just getting rid of things, but I guess there's fabric I could just cut up and use as scraps. So when I draw the number for this, I'll make that decision. All right, next up is some woven stars. So this is the Fat Quarter paper woven stars. I did pretty good on my first one. I was pretty proud of it. It took me a while because of the angles, and the only foundation paper piecing I had used up to this point was like triangles on a roll and triangle paper and the layer cake, which those you just put the fabrics face to face, you lay them down, you pin it, you sew it, you cut it. So there's none of this folding and figuring out. So I got the first quarter of that star done, and I was trying to also be very meticulous on making sure the weaving was exact, which was probably making it more complex. So if you see this, well, if you know how to use paper foundation paper piecing, you know right off I made a mistake here. But I was struggling with how it works, and I was looking at it the wrong way, and you can see I sewed it the wrong way, so I'm short. I've recently took a class on the Legit Kit, so I completely understand how this works now, how you have to showcase your foundation paper to make sure it covers it. So now that I've taken that class and I understand it, I'm going to feel a lot more confident picking this up, because up until a week ago, I thought I would probably just toss this. So this is just a couple charm packs that I had picked up on a sale a couple years ago. It's all ready to go. Very patriotic family. We both work for the Air Force. We've served in the Air Force, and we both have family members in the military. Okay, so next is, I don't even remember the pattern name. I went through my patterns. I can't even find it, but I know how to lay it out. This has been going on for probably, 6-7 years. But they are just squares that are snowballed, and they just need to be laid out. But I need to square up these blocks, and that's not something I've always enjoyed. I can tell that this fabric, it's been long enough that I wasn't a starcher yet. And you can tell that I used charm packs because of the pinking, and you can see I've got some squaring up to do. So what I need to do is find the smallest square, determine what I'm going to square it up to, go from there, piece it together, and just get this finished. It's actually a really cute quilt. It kind of makes these stars. It's real cute. Okay, next up is something you've recently seen. This is my 2025 mystery quilt. I have decided on the finishing pattern, so I went ahead and added it to this pile because my favorite part of quilting is putting together the blocks. My least favorite part is borders and sashing. So I'm going to get onto that, and there's actually no sashing involved. I just have to make complementary Irish chain quilt blocks to go with this. And I went ahead and added my flowering sampler as well. This one requires some sashing. So I don't enjoy that piece of the quilting, so this is why I end up with a group of blocks, but I do want to finish this. So, okay, next up is, I guess I forgot to add this. There we go. I need to add a number 17. This is a chicken. A friend of mine came over to learn how to embroider. She bought an embroidery machine, and we used her machine to teach her how. So this is how I taught her how to do applique, was using this little chicken. And when she just bought an embroidery machine, she has a sewing machine too, but she left this here. And I would like to make a like a mug rug or something for her at work, just to kind of commemorate her very first embroidery block. So let me go ahead and add that. Number 17, chicken, mug rug. I made a rule for myself too. Like I told you, I have a queue for things to start, and I have committed myself that I am not going to start anything new unless I've already signed up for a book of the month without finishing something from this UFO list. So that's ready to go. Now we're included. Okay, what's next? This is, I didn't use a pattern for this. This is an ABC XYZ pattern or fabric collection from Stacy Itschu, and I just created my own pattern. It's just a sawtooth SARS with every other block being plain, and there's another piece in the middle with my grandson's initial H. So not a lot left to do. I need to sew these 3 rows together, put a border around each side, and then put it on the long arm. I'm starting to realize the long arm aspect is becoming my constraint point. I love long arming. I don't enjoy putting the backing on the long arm. Okay, up next is my champagne quilt. I started this quilt for a colleague of mine. She had her first baby. Quilt is completely done. It is absolutely adorable. I just need to get it on the long arm. I've got the backing all ready to go. It just needs to be put on the long arm, and then I just need to long arm it. And I don't rush for baby quilts because nobody wraps their baby in a baby quilt. To me, I make them a little bit bigger, and I hope that that's something that they could continue to use throughout their life if they so choose. But if they don't, I don't get attached. All right, up next is the Rugby Quilt by Lele Batik. And I had bought a collection by Danny Mogstead, I think, Patriotic Collection, years ago. In fact, I'm using the leftovers of this collection for my Celebrate 250 quilt. And it was funny because I was struggling with why I had so little fabric for that other one. And I was searching the net looking for some more fabric. And then I remembered it's because I was using it for this quilt. So all the blocks are done. Why I got discouraged on this is when I started assembling the blocks together, there were some noticeable, maybe not on the florals, but on the geometrics where I wasn't quite straight with my lines and when I was attaching the blocks together. Let's see if it's this one. And it was just bothering me. It's probably no big deal. You can see I wasn't aligned here, but I'm just going to get this together. I'm going to trim it up. I'm going to get it on the long arm when its number pops up and get it done for, maybe we'll get it done by 250. We'll see. Okay, next is what I call my leader ender quilt. And this is fantastic. I finished every single one of these blocks while assembling a different quilt. So if you're unfamiliar with the leader ender, I had a stack of 2.5 squares from leftover quilt that I had done previously and a stack of solids. And for every leader and every ender, I just put one of these sets through the machine. And then I made a pile once I had all these sets together and attached another one to it. And I did the same thing. So this entire block set is made up of leaders and enders until I ran out of the fabric. So I just need to cut the solid for the solid blocks. It'll be a real cute, soft pastel colors for an Irish chain. So I just need to get those whites cut out and get it on the long arm, or then put it all together. All right, after that is Jacob and Kylie's wedding quilt. So for every one of my kids, I have made signature blocks that are used at their wedding, during their reception, and then I use those to create a wedding quilt. This was Gingham Cottage by Heather Peterson at Riley Blake. I like to keep this just so I know later because it's been years. I mean, not that many years. They've been married for 2-3 years. They'll have a wedding anniversary in November, so I think it'll be their 3-year anniversary. This is for the daughter-in-law that likes to sew now, so maybe Kylie will want to take a part of that and make her own quilt. We'll see. I do have another daughter that got married a year after them, and so these are her quilt blocks. You can see they're a different style, but this was Love Struck by Lele Batik, and very cute shades. The other wedding quilt I did was for my son, my oldest son, and his quilt has been done for years, and my oldest daughter, who, by the way, got married first. But I had taken those quilt blocks to my mom to work on it together. We were delayed because we realized she was missing some blocks from her wedding party, so we took some, blank blocks and had her take them. Those 2 sets of fabrics are separated. I think I'm just going to call it a day and sew the ones we have at my mom's house. So either I have to go visit my mom or I'll need her to mail them to me. We will see. Okay, so let's see what we're going to pick. It is number 12. Number 12 is the champagne quilt. So I need to get that on the long arm. The champagne quilt is this little guy right here. So that's doable. And we will provide progress as we go through. Finish it Friday.